Good morning again to our dear participants. So to those stakeholders that who just joined us today, we had a discussion earlier regarding the proposed charging infrastructure development plan (CIDP) guidelines, and now we will proceed to the next portion of our program, which is the second public consultation of the draft amendments to the Department Circular Number DC 2023-05-0012 or the Electric Vehicle Recognition Guidelines. And now, we will be presenting the salient points of the draft amendment to the EV Recognition Guidelines to be delivered by Director Patrick T. Aquino.
Good day, everyone. With your indulgence, allow me to present the salient points of the draft Department Circular prescribing amendments to the Department Circular DC 2023-05-0012 or the Electric Vehicle EV Recognition Guidelines. This proposed amendments to the EV Recognition Guidelines applies to all road transport vehicle manufacturers, assemblers, importers, and rebuilders to notify the Energy Utilization Management Bureau, EUMB, of all claimed EVs for recognition under the implementing rules and regulations of the EVIDA IRR. To highlight, the following are the additional terms and definitions to provide clearer understanding on the components of electric vehicles, EVs, that are essential for the EV recognition process. 1. Electric drive refers to the combination of an electric traction motor, power electronics, and their associated controls for the conversion of electric to mechanical power and vice versa. 2. Electric machine refers to an energy converter that can operate as an electric motor, input electric energy, output mechanical energy, or as an electric generator, vice versa, or as an electric motor generator. Further definitions for electric motor, electric generator, and electric motor generator were also defined. 3. External energy source refers to an external electric power supply that is not part of the vehicle for electric energy to a vehicle. 4. Fuel cell refers to an energy converter transforming chemical energy from a fuel into electrical energy through a chemical reaction with oxygen or another oxidizing agent. 5. Fuel storage system refers to a power source that stores chemical energy as a liquid or gaseous. 6. Power source shall refer to fuel storage system or a rechargeable energy storage system. 7. Propulsion system refers to the combination of power source and powertrain for vehicle propulsion. 8. Rechargeable Energy Storage System, RESS, refers to the rechargeable system that stores energy for delivery of electric energy for the electric drive or the battery. 9. Traction battery refers to the battery that supply electric power to the electric drive motor. Definitions and classification of EVs were clarified and other emerging types of EVs in the market were considered in the draft TC. Battery EV, BEV, are those with only a traction battery as power source for vehicle propulsion and have no tailpipe emission. Hybrid EV, HEV. The purpose of the electric motor is clarified, and those non-externally chargeable HEV and non-off-vehicle chargeable HEV are also defined as HEV. A minimum threshold of above 9 kilowatt electric motor rating. This minimum requirement ensures that an electric motor has sufficient capacity to deliver real propulsion power under actual road conditions and can supply usable torque for continuous vehicle movement and typical urban speeds. The definition of light EV, LEV, is retained. For plug-in EVs, PHEV, it is clarified that externally chargeable HEVs or off-vehicle chargeable HEVs may be referred to as PHEVs. Additionally, provisions were included to indicate that PHEV has tailpipe emission. Additional classification, definition introduced and added as EV. Range extender, extended EV, REEV, are those HEVs driven slowly by an electric motor with an engine that is utilized to recharge the battery and extend the vehicle driving range. REEVs may also refer to Series HEV. Fuel cell EVs, FCEV, are those EVs with no tailpipe emission that use a fuel cell to generate electricity to power its electric motor for propulsion. Displayed on screen is an excerpt of Annex A Recognition Assessment of an EV, which provides the harmonized criteria to be adopted for the assessment and verification of an EV. Processing for EV recognition has been updated. The key processes and requirements are as follows. All application for EV recognition must be made through the Philippine Transport Vehicle Fuel Economy Labeling (VFELP) system, accessible through vfelp.doe.gov.ph. Requirements include the submission of notice of EV recognition application, duly accomplished specification form through the VFELP system, UNR 136 test report for Category L vehicles, UNR 101 test report or its equivalent standard, the official receipt of the application fee. All submitted applications will be processed within 20 working days. Incomplete submissions will be returned and shall be resubmitted within 7 working days. Failure to complete and resubmit shall be treated as new application. For applications without a valid UNR 136, UNR 101 test report or its equivalent, will undergo further verification through scheduled inspection to be provided and determined by the EUMB. For all recognized EVs, the quarterly submission of the marketed recognized EV monitoring form will be required, and application fees according to vehicle type will apply per vehicle model. Displayed on screen is Annex D procedure for the EV characterization that present the process in EV recognition, including the inspection and request for revisions of recognized EV. Flashed on the screen are the applicable fees according to the vehicle body type per vehicle model as categorized. Take note that all application fees are non-refundable once successfully processed. Moreover, locally assembled or manufactured vehicles shall submit an endorsement letter or certification from the Department of Trade and Industry Board of Investment. Vehicles used for public mass transportation and or for the modernization of public transportation shall submit an endorsement letter or certification from the Department of Transportation or its attached offices, confirming that the vehicle will be used for public transport to qualify for the exemption from the EV recognition application fees. For applications without a valid UNR 101 test report or its equivalent, detailed inspection and further verification procedure will be conducted. First, the EUMB will provide a notice to the applicant to physically present the vehicle on the scheduled date to be determined by the DOE through EUMB. Next, the applicant shall respond to the notice and present the vehicle on the scheduled date. If the scheduled date is not yet viable for the applicant shall inform the EUMB and request for an alternate place, date, and time for the inspection, subject to the availability. All necessary logistical requirements and costs shall be shouldered by the applicant. Failure by the applicant to confirm and present the vehicle as scheduled time and date shall result in the denial of the application. Upon completion of the inspection and verification, a certificate of inspection and verification will be attached to the EV recognition application prior to submission of documents for approval or disapproval. All recognized EVs will be included and posted in the EV industry portal. Other clauses include the updating of recognized EV list, a transitory clause indicating that all previously recognized EVs shall retain their EV recognition, provided that they have complied with the vehicle registration through the VFELP system, a repealing clause to nullify any inconsistent regulations, a separability clause to ensure the validity of the remaining provisions if any part is deemed invalid, and an effectivity clause specifying the date when the DC shall take effect. This ends the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. So, to our participants today, we would like to inform you that you may now enter your questions and clarifications in the chat box following the format below. So first, your name, affiliation, and then the section number and your comments and suggestions. So we have here Director Patrick De Aquino for for his response to your inquiries. So for our first question po from Meralco. So in section 7.5, processing of EV recognition application, the first question is, we respectfully suggest that the term marketed be clearly defined to address a potential issue where road transport market authorization holders or MARs might possess unsold inventory of a particular vehicle model for a given quarter, thereby running the risk of delisting from the roster of recognized EVs in the DOE portal. Second question po is to ensure that recognized EVs are actively marketed and made available for sale to the public. We respectfully propose that the submission of the marketed recognized EV monitoring form as provided in Annex D be accompanied by verifiable proof of such marketing activities and or sales. And the third is the clarification is sought as to whether removal from the list requires road transport MARS to undergo the EV recognition application process again to be re-included.
Thank you for the
the clarifications. We take note on the items, the recommendations for number one, on the uh, retention for the listing, as under the vehicle fuel economy labeling program, there is actually a submission report um, uh, in the requirement. So it will continue to be on the list, unless, if the item, once this issuance takes effect, for those that were previously recognized, as we've indicated in the draft, you do have to do the compliance with the BFELP to retain the recognition. Now, for the verifiable proof point, again, we take note of the suggestion. And on the last point, what I can confirm is that if you are already delisted, then it will be a fresh application for you to be included. Thank you.
Thank you po, Director. Our next question po is from Campi regarding the Section 6 or EV recognition documentary requirements. May we respectfully request details regarding Section 6 EV recognition documentary requirements to be able to have a better understanding of how the test report will be utilized to determine whether a motor vehicle qualifies as an electric vehicle.
Thank you for the question. The details actually are already embodied in the forms that are attached. As you know, DOE is also one unit, and the bureau that implements it is also the Vehicle Fuel Economy Labeling Program, and the Electric Vehicle Industry Management Division are also under one bureau. We've taken the step to actually integrate the two processes. So what you're going to be seeing is that on the checklist of requirements, we've already indicated what we're exactly zeroing in. If you recall, in the presentation of the definition of terms, we've already indicated as to why, what we will exactly be looking at. We're looking at electric motor, we're looking at capacity, we're looking at the reports, and the reports that the information that we're looking at is reflected in those test reports. So it's already indicated in the annexes. And what we are keen on looking at is, of course, what we've indicated in the definition of terms already, as to what constitutes the electric vehicle, consistent with the requirements of the EVIDA. Thank you.
Thank you po, Director. Our next question po is from Mr. Joel Makatula of Philippine EV Community. For vehicles being converted to EVs by replacing the internal combustion engine with electric motors and batteries, do they need to be approved or registered with our office?
From this office, yes, what we've indicated. That's why if you take a look at the items that's required for the recognition, it will undergo the process, and comply with the requirements indicated in this issuance. Thank you.
Thank you po, Director. For the next question po from Campi regarding the whereas, may we respectfully request on the inclusion of the 1958 agreement, whereas on November 3, 2022, the Philippines acceded to the UNECE 1958 agreement entitled Agreement Concerning the Adoption of Harmonized Technical United Nations Regulations for Wheeled Vehicles, Equipment, and Parts which can be fitted and/or be used on wheeled vehicles, and the conditions for the reciprocal recognition of approvals granted on the basis of these United Nations regulations.
Thank you for that. We will reflect it accordingly once we also clear it legally. Note that for the purpose of this particular issuance, along with the original, is to guide other agencies on the application of the incentives provided under the EVIDA. Thank you.
Thank you po, Director. The next question is from Miss Charlene Castro of Ayala. Will this circular be binding upon other government agencies in terms of EV classification or definitions for consistency in enforcement?
Thank you for the question. For the consistency, this particular issuance is targeted towards the incentives provided under the EVIDA. We note that, you know, road transport classification, for example, our colleagues from the transportation department might have some different take. But the purpose of this, let's say for fiscal incentives, is its alignment. Once this takes effect, this will be the reference document that's also aligned with Revenue Regulation 2025-01. So insofar as those are concerned for fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, this will be the go-to issuance consistent with the EVIDA and its implementing rules and regulations. Thank you.
Thank you po, Director. Our next question po is from Mr. Hadri Harris of Tesla. In section 6, item 6.3, beside UNR 101, proposed to also include UNR 154 test report. Both UNR 101 and UNR 154 provide test procedures for determining the electric energy consumptions and electric range of electrified vehicles. The key distinction between UNR 101 and UNR 154 lies in the driving cycle used during the testing. So for UNR 101 is based on the NEDC, and the UNR 154 is based on the WLTP. So the Tesla's recommendation is to allow for both UNR 101 and UNR 154 equally.
Thank you for the recommendation. We'll take that into consideration and reflect it accordingly if we also deem it proper. And congratulations to Tesla Philippines for their remarkable sales. I just read it earlier today that you've reached a key milestone in terms of deliveries and sales here in the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you po, Director. And to our participants, if you have additional questions and clarifications po, you may type in your questions here in the chat box so that we can properly address it. For our next question po from Honda Cars or Campi, currently LTO do not recognize the new vehicles for their inspection. The provisionary approval on the EV recognition issued by the Department of Energy was also not recognized by the LTO. Are there interagency discussion on this matter? It will have an impact on the new model introduction timing by the MIDS or
Yeah.
MAIDS.
Thank you for flagging that. Yes, the government does do interagency coordination. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you po. Our next question po is from Ford. If complete valid test reports are submitted, then there is no need to present the actual unit for actual inspection.
Correct. That's correct, ma'am.
Okay po. I think that's all the questions, sir. So to our participants, if you have additional questions and clarifications po, you may send your questions and clarifications to our email. That's doe.eumb@gmail.com, and copy furnish po ang doe.evoffice@gmail.com. So I think that's all the questions po, Director.
Yeah. Thank you again to our stakeholders. Thank you for joining us in today's twin public consultations. On the CIDP, as we've indicated, we will continue to receive your comments through Friday this week. And we'll be circulating the results of the public consultations and the items that we did consider or we did not consider in the minutes of the meetings in a week's time from today. For the EV recognition guidelines, we'll also do the minutes of this public consultation. We'll continue to receive comments for this through Friday this week. And we'll send you the results or the disposition to your inputs and comments along with the minutes by on or before Friday next week. Um, for the latest issuance in for the electric vehicles industry on the part of the Department of Energy, please visit evindustry .ph. And then in terms of timeline, after, since this is our second public consultation, if we do not get any substantial comments requiring a third public consultation, we'll do the internal process of legal scrubbing on our part, and we'll initiate the consideration for approval of our secretary on these twin issuances in the next 2 weeks or so. We expect to have this put in place and be effective hopefully towards the end of August for both issuances. Again, thank you for joining us. For those of you who are here in the affected areas with the continuous rains, kindly stay safe. And again, thank you.
Thank you po, Director. So before we end po the second part of our program, we would like to request everyone again to open their camera for our photo documentation. So for the first panel, okay, smile. Our next panel, 1, 2, 3, smile. Third panel po, 1, 2, 3, smile. And our last panel, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. And thank you everyone for attending this public consultation. First is the public consultation on the draft guidelines for the CIDP. And the second part of this public consultation is on the amendment to the electric vehicle recognition guidelines. So that's all. That concludes our activity for today. And we would like to thank you for participating in this public consultation. Thank you and have a nice day. Take care po. Ingat.